Alright, yeah, welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today is Brawl's Day because I decided it is, and every day can be Brawl's Day if we want for the next month. So today is Brawl's Day, my dudes, and we're going to be playing a brand new deck. This one's going to be built around the new Theros Planeswalker, Ashiok Nightmare Muse. So it is what you might think it's going to be. It's going to be a Dimir control deck, which I think is not very well positioned in the meta, necessarily. I think that it's a big brain deck that requires a little bit more effort than most other decks that do a little bit better than this one. But it's fun to pilot, so here we are. That's what we're all about on this channel anyway, is just the fun factor of any deck. It's not necessarily the competitive nature of it. Just as long as we're having a good time, that's all that really matters. Anyway, 5 mana, Dimir colors for a 5 loyalty Planeswalker. We got 3 abilities. The +1 allows us to make 2/3 black and blue Nightmare creature tokens with whenever this creature attacks or blocks, each opponent exiles the top 2 cards of their library. It's more about the fact that we get to defend our Ashiok than anything, I would say. Although, inevitably, lots and lots of 2/3s exiling the top cards of your deck, especially against decks that draw a lot of cards, is going to be a quick clock anyway. The -3 allows us to return any permanent we want, well, non-land permanent, specifically, to our opponent's hand, and then that player exiles a card from their hand. So, if they have no cards in hand, the -3 is a straight-up removal spell for any non-land permanent, which is absolutely sick. Other than that, though, it's just really nice tempo. Ashiok goes down to 2 when she gets played, so you end up having like just a single 1/1, not really doing much damage there, so there's a little bit more protection than the average Planeswalker, most of them minus into 1 loyalty a lot of the time, so anything can kill them. But Ashiok's a little bit safer there. The -7 is, I would say pretty mediocre, honestly, as far as Planeswalkers go. You may cast up to 3 face-up cards your opponents own from exile without paying their mana costs. So the Nightmares that are going to be exiling the top card of our opponent's library, we get to pick the top 3 of those cards that we exile and do what we want with them. So if our opponent does have like lots of Planeswalkers in their deck or something like that, then the ult is going to win us the game. But it's all a matter of how much these Nightmares can exile, to be honest. We do have things that exile in general, so things like Eat to Extinction, exiling a creature or Planeswalker. That does actually include that card on the -7 as well, because it will be a face-up exiled card, so that's a nice little interaction there with Eat to Extinction. Also the same thing with Cry of the Carnarium, exiling creatures that die during that turn. So all of those will be face-up, and we get to essentially use that card. So if we found something worth killing, that usually means it's pretty good with Eat to Extinction, and therefore Ashiok's -7 has some value there later down the line. Anyway, waffled on about our Planeswalker long enough. Dimir Control is what we are playing, so there's a lot of the usual stuff that you would expect in this one. We're going to be a counter-based deck as well, so we've got Disdainful Stroke, Negate, Quench, Tail's End, Thassa's Intervention, Drown in the Lock, No Escape, Didn't Say Please, Sinister Sabotage, and I believe that is it as far as counter magic is concerned. It's quite a lot, honestly, but, you know, I do enjoy just like counter magic decks, to be honest. On the odd occasion, they are pretty fun to pilot. So it's one of the reasons why this is a big brain deck, is that instead of the usual control of these days, which is basically just tap out, play a big bomb, play a big bomb, play a big bomb, and just hope that it wins you the game, this one requires a little bit of extra thought into what you should be countering, and we're going to be trying to counter so that the turn that we follow up with actually gives us some positive tempo as well. So if we counter our opponent's big play, they tap out completely, hopefully we get to resolve a big threat and hold up something after that. That's going to be the idea, at least. We got lots of removal in here as well, so if anything does resolve, we've got Erebus's Intervention, giving -X/-X, and gaining life and whatnot. Drown in the Lock is also a counter spell and a removal spell combined, and it's going to care about what our opponent has in their graveyard, but we do have a little bit to mill them over with. The main ones are going to be Thief of Sanity does a little bit of that, We got Didn't Say Please on the counter, milling over 3. Enter the God Eternals, which mills over quite a fair bit, 4 there. And then Ashiok, Sculptor of Fears up here as well. I just felt like I had to add this card. We've played with this one in the past, and it was honestly really fun to pilot this particular Planeswalker, just because the -5 allows you to reanimate from either graveyard. We comboed this one, I think, with Spark Double, which you could add into this deck. I don't have it at the moment, because I think that it is maybe a little bit awkward to resolve a Spark Double and then hold open significant counter magic and removal. But that's just me. I mean, we do have a fair few 4s anyway. Got Eugene as well, which is a removal spell and a card advantage option as well. And yeah, I think that's really about all I need to say on this deck. Lots of removal, lots of counters, got a little bit of ramp, Dimir Locket, Midnight Clock, Arcane Signet. This is a little bit of ramp to get to an early Ashiok if we can get there. The earlier Ashiok can get down, the better, because then that -3 is just that little bit more powerful. More chance of us having an empty board after the -3 comes down, which is ideal for the -3 there. Other than that, though, we're just going to be making 2/3s, reanimating our opponent's win cons, making 2/2s that draw us cards, and stealing our opponent's win cons. It's a pretty sweet deck. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. If you do, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Thanks. This video is brought to you by the generous support of our wonderful patrons and channel members that you see here. If you'd like to support the channel and get access to cool content like sneak peeks, bonus videos, polls on future content, or access to a personal deck critique from myself every month, then hit the join button below the video or check out the Patreon link down in the description below. With all that said, let's get into the gameplay. Alrighty then, we're in. And without blue mana, this is a hard sell, unfortunately. So I think this one's just going to get mulled over. Otherwise, it's not a terrible hand if you got the blue mana. Alright. This I can get behind. So we've got lots of disruption here. We've got bounce if we can't counter something. We got disruption for the hand. And we got counters. So, good stuff. Let's go Temple. Make sure we draw something that we can actually use. So, 6 mana Ashiok. Bit early to see, so we're just going to throw that one in the trash for now. Yeah, I guess we're Thought Erasuring. I mean, usually against a Layla, our opponent's deck, I should go into what they are. Esper colors for a 2/3, flying, death touch, lifelink. Other creatures you control with flying get +1/+0, and whenever you cast an artifact or enchantment spell, you make a 1/1 fairy creature token with flying, which is obviously going to be a 2/1 as long as the Layla's out. So this is usually artifacts matter, but with Theros it becomes kind of enchantments matter. Sometimes, on the odd occasion, you can get flying tribal. We're going to find out. Okay. Glass of the Guild Pact, eh? It's an interesting one. I think I'm just going to take Omen of the Sea. I don't feel like I care about any of the other stuff here. And yeah, we're just going to take the removal. Lots and lots of interaction. So we essentially want to just answer whatever our opponent's doing all the way up until Nightmare Muse. We could leave something unanswered because of the -3, allowing us to bounce and send it back to their hand. Someone running Unknown Shores. It's usually a sign if you're running bad cards like this, although it's amazing art. Love that art. If you're running bad cards like this, then it's usually a sign that you're running Field of the Dead, just to justify having it in there. Alright, so we got double blue, double black. So we can happily pass now with counter magic and good removal open. There's a Layla. Could bounce it. Could kill it. I think I might just counter it. That's probably not a good idea, actually. Let's just make them cast it next turn. Let's go for a Petty Theft. If they spend the whole turn next turn playing it, then we have our Murderous Rider. So we send it back to the command zone again. And just constantly annoy our opponent. So I think we're going to go with Thief of Sanity here, although what are they likely to do? Law Mage's Binding or replay a Layla as a greed play. I guess we could test them. They're not playing a Layla if they go Law Mage's Binding, although they could go Land Glass Binding. It's definitely a possibility. I think I'll take my chances. We'll see what they do. If they get greedy by going for a Layla to try and get extra value out of their Law Mage's Binding, then we can punish that next turn. Potentially. Going to Layla. Alright. So now we have Murderous Rider to kill a Layla. Then we get to swing in with Thief of Sanity and hit something nice. We got Negate backup. So we'll see what we can get. Ooh, Dream Trawler. I will take a Dream Trawler. I'd be running it in this deck if I had the chance. Witching Well's okay and all that, but Dream Trawler? Come on now. So they could play a Layla again. If they do, we'll drag to the Underworld a Layla and knock her off again. If they go for Law Mage's Binding here, then it's a good enough time to go for a Negate. I think we mostly got this one out in the bag. Alright. That one's not as great, since it actually produces some tokens to annoy us with. I guess we could actually use this opportunity, though, to go Ashiok instead. Please do not Tails End me. They've got something. Actually, no, they've got a Seraph activation is what they have. Alright, so we're going to bounce that back to their hand, and then they've got to exile a card as well. So we know of two unknowns, which are likely to be worse than these two. Well, actually, I'd probably get rid of Glass. It looks so bad in their deck. Because you're only producing blue fairies. I'd understand if this was a multicolored, like blue and black fairy or something like that. But otherwise, I don't know it's worth it. Let's go Thief of Sanity, get a Chromatic Lantern. Unfortunately, we can't take lands with Thief. Well, we can take them, we just can't use them. Okay, so we got removal for one thing. Well, we don't have removal for that. Let's see how they want to go. Tick down on Thief of Sanity. Okay, then. Well, I think we're just going Dream Trawler. Get that down. Our opponent needs a board wipe to not lose the game here. Since Dream Trawler is something you can't really interact with, we can discard all these cards to give hexproof. I mean, they can play down Seraph and give it Death Touch, which is fine. We've got Drag to the Underworld to kill it. And they do have a Kaisrath. Okay. It's not normal that you see an Alayla deck with board wipes, but shouldn't expect more than just one Kaisrath, I imagine.
Lies beyond vision.
They are definitely an unorthodox version of this deck. Without a doubt. Alright, so Eugene's making 2/2s. I can make 2/3s. And then I can also Brazen Borrow, hopefully, to kill Eugene, depending on what our opponent does here. I mean, we've got counter magic. Let's see. That leaves me with the ability to drag to the Underworld and either negate or Tails End. That doesn't stop Seraph, and that's kind of the important one. I think we just pass. We're not going to Chromatic Lantern here. It's really important that I kill Eugene. Arcane Signet, totally fine. It's totally free as well, because of the passive right here. So, ticking up. Don't really have much option. I mean, we could Tails End that. I don't necessarily think that's a good idea, though. But it does effectively stop our opponent from drawing a card. Now then, you best leave my Ashiok alone. I think they're just wondering what I can do with it more than anything. And I do have the bounce available to me. But they should be worried about the counter magic that we've got sat in our hand right now. More than anything. Ideally, I'd only want to use one blue here. Prison Realm. Could counter the Prison Realm's trigger with Tail's End. I don't think that's necessary though. We'll just go negate. Hopefully just didn't say please on Seraph is good enough. Well, I guess if they go Seraph here, we have the minus available to us with Ashiok to bounce Seraph, flash in Brazen Borrower, kill Eugene. Make them discard as well. So bounce Seraph, make them lose another card. They're going to lose Eugene. So losing a fair bit here, though. They do have these two cards here, effectively. I'm going to get rid of Law Mage's Binding. Fair. Alright, kill Eugene. I'm going to leave the blocker back to protect Ashiok. Didn't say please and Tail's End. Can't hold them up if I do that, but if I go Chromatic Lantern, then I have both counter magic spells open. So I think that's fair. The annoying part is that I'm probably going to have to kill one of these tokens if they go for the double attack, which I can't really see why they wouldn't. They want that card. That's the one they led with. That's the one they want me to block. I mean, do I protect Ashiok here? Or do I just play them next turn? I think I'll just play him again next turn. We're going to go with the one that they didn't lead with. It's likely to be the card they want the least. Goodbye, Ashiok. To the command zone. What do we get rid of? Night Vale, Predator, and an island. Okay. Alright, counter magic up. Got a slight advantage over me though, card-wise. Which is less than ideal. But if they go for something like a Layla, then that's a tap out completely. Yeah, we don't want you having that. It is extremely irritating. Time wipes in there as well. Yeah, they're kind of just like Esper control then, I guess. Is their thing. And they're passing. Okay. Well, let's swing. Exile some cards, get some beats in. We have this, but we don't have counter backup. They do have counter magic open. Have we seen counters from them yet? I don't think we have. They'll definitely have the obligatory Tail's End. But other than that, I'm not sure. They do not have counter magic. Alright. I will tick up so I have a creature to protect with, and we'll stop a Layla with the Tail's End. Or a Drag to the Underworld for any creature that might resolve. Big problem now is if they have Planeswalkers, I guess. Well, we got Tail's End for that. I don't know. I'd just rather them not kill my Ashiok, I guess. Ooh, we ult 2 turns from now. Spark, double. Sure. It's a very odd spark double. 3/3 spirit with nothing under it. Turn my borrower into a 1/1. Okay. Okay, there's a very long line of strange plays there, which I was not expecting, and clearly it's because they were getting ready to scoop. They didn't want to mess with any man nonsense. They were actually, like, somewhat closing out, stabilizing, I would say. It's like, I don't have card advantage right now, unfortunately. So they could definitely take advantage of that. I mean, I'm gonna minus my Ashiok to make them discard cards and things like that, so I don't know. I don't know, but I mean, this 3/3 is enough to stop me from attacking for a while, so they've got all the time in the world, really, to really stabilize, but it was a weird matchup. Anyway, let's go for another game. Alrighty then, we're in, and I mean, this hand could be fine. It's a turn 4 Ashiok. It is up against Reese the Redeemed, who I don't think I've ever lost to, so now's the time, I guess. These cards, not usually all that great against Reese, I guess. I mean, they're going to get Reese down, but I might keep this hand on the strength of Midnight Clock. Yeah, okay. So what we really want in this matchup is Cry of the Carnariums and Ritual of Suts. I'm going to imagine that they do very well against a token deck. We'll lead off with an island, the most intimidating of lands. And yeah, it's just going to be a matter of how early our opponent's aggression goes. You're going to lead with Reese, it usually happens. The surprise of no one there. So if they do nothing good this turn, then I have my Sinister Sabotage up for anything interesting they do next. Though, do I want to get my Midnight Clock going? That's the real question. Because I'm countering, but I'm not going to be putting any tempo on board. So I almost think that maybe I actually just ramp to Ashiok next turn, who minuses down to 2, so it survives Reese. And then after that, we've got the turn 5 Eugene to kill whatever else. Okay, so we're going to play a Swamp. We're going to go Ashiok. We're going to minus on the Fabura Elder and force our opponent to discard. Now we've got our Planeswalker on board. It's going to survive the current board state, and it's going to be able to tick up and make 2/3s. And then we've also got Eugene as well to make some 2/2s that draw us cards. So I think we're in a really good spot. Endrace Foreigner's going into the exile zone. He is hoping that Ashiok gets the ult at some point. That would be wonderful. It's always freaking Questing Beasts. When will that card die? I really want it to die. I hate Questing Beast so much. Command Zone, please. Yeah. It's the sign of when Wizards lost their way with card design. Why? Why do we do this? Well, now I'm going to probably have to Eugene tick down, kill Questing Beast. I feel so bad. Then we get to Ashiok, though. And kind of get a similar play of bounce Fabura, but if they play 2 cards next turn, it's not really going to happen. Yeah, if I could block with the tokens, that would be nice. If there was, like, 1 less line of text on this card, then I wouldn't have a problem with it. I think if you pick, like, any of these words, any of these lines, and remove them, Questing Beast just gets infinitely better to play against. But as it currently stands, it's miserable and it's stupid, and I don't know why anyone thought it was a good idea. But, you know, powerful cards and all that sells packs. I guess that's why it's a good idea. Tulsimir. Alright, no bouncing for me then. So Eugene down, unfortunately. Midnight Clock doing its thing. I guess we're just playing Ashiok and hoping for the best. We can't really tick down because we're not going to gain anything from it, so I'm just going to make 2-3. And to prevent Ashiok from dying, we're going to be chomping. So close to Midnight Clock doing a thing. Oh, it's green-white. Multicolored Mars, I guess? Well, they got Prison Realm, so... I think I'm pretty much out of this game for good. Command Zone. Yeah. I just can't see us actually coming back from this. Literally Questing Beast won in the game. Everything else here seems manageable to me. Because if they didn't have Questing Beast, I didn't have to tick down with Eugene. If I didn't have to tick down with Eugene, it means I'm ticking up and I'm drawing cards off of blocks like this. As it stands, I ain't doing that. Guess we'll thin the deck out a bit. Grab an island. Pass the turn. Got one card in the yard, so I can kill a 1-drop with my Drown in the Lock. Fantastic. Alright, what we doing? Night Pack Ambusher. Absolutely not. I thought I was just going to get Veil of Summit then. They've got Summit for 1 white or green there. So I can kill the token, I guess. It's not the worst thing in the world. Boop the token. I'm basically dead anyway, though. I mean, what on earth can I do here? The board. She is too strong. No blocks. Put a counter on the clock. And if we don't like what we draw, which we don't, we can get a brand new 7. I guess I can steal a card first before we get a brand new 7. Good lord. March of the Multitudes. Doesn't matter where we put that. Okay. Kefnet's a thing, I suppose. Pass the turn, being at 9, it's a bit of a precarious situation. The 2 cards we know in hand are not all that great, so there's a chance to stabilize here. Faber at Elder, yep, makes a 1-1, that's fine. Whiff on Kefnet. That's just hashtag just Kefnet things. I think we just take the Beanstalk Giant here. Although I could Brazen Borrow. Ooh, yeah, Brazen Borrow. Prison Realm. Get Ashiok. Thought Erasure. Prison Realm out of their hand. Take Counter Magic, I suppose. I mean, it's not going to trigger Kefnet, but I think Counter Magic when I'm in a good enough spot is good enough. Tick up. And pass the turn. See what we can do. Cavalier. Nope. Oh, actually. Ah, bugger. They've got Faber Elder. Oops. That's fine. It's fine. Forgot about Faber Elder. Don't worry about it. Just don't worry about it, chat. It's not as though my mana is garbage. Alright. Ketra, Cavalier, and they're going to put a Fabled Passage, I assume, in their hand. Gonna go Forest, okay. And let's see how they go. They do not go. Alright, well, in that case, I'm going to sack Cryptic Caves to draw this Didn't Say Please. We're not going to reveal it to Kefnet. Not going to reveal that to Kefnet. And I guess at this point we minus to get rid of Cavalier of Thorns and counter it on the way back down. They will get rid of Beanstalk Giant. Pretty much no doubt there. I think I'm going to Field of Ruin and get an island at some point. I don't need to do it just yet, though. Yeah, I'm just going to pass. There's Ardenvale. And Cavalier. We will go with... Kill Ardenvale. Grab a island. Good stuff. And then we're going to set up the top card of our deck with a Sinister Sabotage. Hopefully Kefnet gets to do something here. Command Tower. Kefnet does not have a guarantee of doing anything. And I'm assuming our opponent doesn't attack here. Wow, Midnight Clock saved the day. Jeez. I'm going to flash in Brazen Borrower, and then we've got a little bit of an attacking force to go with. Really hoping to find, like, Enter the God Eternals off of the top of Kefnet. That'd be something pretty sweet. Mnemonic Betrayal could be pretty nice as well. It's an option to do something great. Opponent has had enough. Wow, I was almost on the verge of scooping that one up. And we managed to stabilize quite nicely there. We've got double counter spells, so the next 2 turns are likely to not matter. And we're progressing our board, and we're hitting off Kefnet as well, potentially. I'm going to assume we're hitting off Kefnet. It's going to happen eventually, but wow. Wowee. Okay, well, next game. Alright, we are in, and we got a decent enough hand, I guess. Drowning Lock is a late game card I didn't really want to see right about now. Being on the play means that we can potentially, short of them having a Gilded Goose, counter with Didn't Say Please. We're going to have to find another blue source for that, but yeah, potentially. This could be okay. I'm just not happy with Drowning Lock here. I think this is a keepable hand, though. So our opponent's playing Clothis, God of Destiny, the new Theros God. Gruul for a 4/5 indestructible, as long as your devotion to 7 is less. In red and green. As long as your devotion to red and green is less than 7, use your words carefully. It's not a creature, but it does a draining and a ramping thing, which is going to be really bad for us if it actually happens. Well, we did get Evolving Wild, so I think off that I am perfectly happy just grabbing an island here and going with the Didn't Say Please. Turns on Drown in the Lock later for Galia, apparently. So let's go grab an island. Opponent, no doubt, goes for their Clothis, unless they believe that I'm going to counterspell here, which is a fair assumption to make. We did hit enter as quickly as we could to avoid our opponent thinking that we had it. Okay. Well, unfortunate situation is that we're going to have to pass here, because I don't think we can allow Clothis to actually resolve. It's going to be really bad for us. As a control deck, having a constant drain that we can't interact with. Not great. Domri. Okay, well, didn't say please. Embercleave and 2 lands. Alright, so now we can counter a 4-drop with Drown in the Lock. So, officially online there. We got the Sculptor of Fears. We want to make our land drop, so we're going to go with Discovery here, leaving open Drown in the Lock. Mystic Sanctuary in the graveyard. Take Field of Ruin, I guess, although I'm not pleased that it's colourless. But it's a thing, I suppose. I don't have double blue open, opponent. Whatever shall I do? Boop. Yeah, now the issue is surviving Clothis the next time around. Well, we can do Cry. No, we cannot do Cry and Remorse. I guess it's Ashiok Tick Up. See if they go land Clothis. At which point we just bounce it with Ashiok. Gonna say this is the tap out time we do not want. Our opponent can win on this turn. Every freaking time it's Questing Beast. I hate that card so much. Stop being you, Questing Beast. Alright, we hit nothing good. Questing Beast takes Ashiok down to 2. We tick up with Ashiok. Play Dismal Backwater. Yeah, these colourless lands are killing me right now. Literally and figuratively. 1, 2 leaves me with 3 black. Yeah. I mean, I'm just gonna have to pass. I have to drag to the Underworld Questing Beast here. So what do they go with? Do they trust that I do not have more counter magic? Do you trust it? Thrash. Oof. So no Clothis. Only 3 drops to worry about. I'm sure there's not much worse than Questing Beast that could come out here. Grumgully. That's worse on a whole different level. Okay, I think I'm going to draw with Cryptic Caves. Alright. Coloured mana. So we could play Ashiok and have the ability to reanimate Questing Beast or something like that. Which is not the worst thing in the world. 1, 2, 3, 4. We got Drown in the Lock with Bond of Insight. That's not bad. I guess we could go with that. Then again, why don't we just find out if we should be worried about what they've got over there? Anax, Ceratops, Beast Whisperer, Collision Colossus. Huh. That's a lot of bad cards for me. Which one's the worst? I think it's maybe... It's probably Anax, I guess? Anax puts bodies on the board. Then again, we got the Cry of the Carnarium. I think I'll get rid of Shifting Ceratops. Yeah. I'm torn about all of them, honestly, but I think that's where we're going with that. Alright, hold back. Go land. I mean, they're all threats. Every last one of them. Yaha. I will double block your Grumgully. That would be fine. I will Murderous Ride your Grumgully if you Collision Colossus. Yeah, I mean, is it? It's a 5. Yeah. I'm just gonna kill it. Ain't that bad. Ain't that bad at all. And they'll just keep exiling your stuff. I think we just hit some really nice, tasty things there, actually. What do? You do some milling. So I think that we go with Bounce Anax to irritate beyond belief. That's step 1. Getting rid of Beast Whisperer. Ooh-wee, Rick. Well, I don't feel like I have to worry about too much here, so I think I might just go Ashiok. Set up a reanimation for next turn. We get an island. Rhythm of the Wild in the trash. So we leave a blocker back. We'll leave 2 blockers back in case the top deck removal. That way my Nightmare Muse remains in play. Almost guaranteed. Here's Clothis. And they got no good attacks. So now we look into our opponent's graveyard, because they should have something pretty tasty. I mean, I'm looking at Questing Beast as the main one here. I think that's potentially what we want to go with. Yeah, I think we want the pressure of Questing Beast. Could be Grumgully. Makes my Ashiok make 3/4s. 3/4s are pretty good at beating down. Then again, Questing Beast is a big boy. I actually think it might be Grumgully. That's so weird. Let's do Grumgully for the memes. Yeah, let's do it. Give me Grumgully. Alright. Make a 3/4. Beautiful. Let's then go Bond of Insight. Mill over some stuff. Could have maybe done this first to see if we're going to take Drown in the Lock and didn't say please then, I think. Although actually probably is dragged to the Underworld just on the off chance that they have something real. Actually, no. Drown in the Lock is exactly what that we need there. How about Dispersal to make them discard? Yeah, sure. Why not? More discarding. Let's get in. Boop, boop, boop. Mill, mill, mill. Land, Gift of Paradise. Land, Incubation Druid. Land, Once Upon a Time. Okay. There are 20 cards. I think we're going... we might have the mill win at this rate. We're going to pass the turn. Holding up a no escape and drown in the lock. Our opponent can ping us. So, I mean, we're not going to be here forever. There is some inevitability here. Then again, if the highest mana cost is going to be 3 at the end of this turn, then Dispersal will get that done. You can have that. Gonna go to combat. It's dead now. Veil of Summer. Okay. Come at me, bro. So, I was thinking that I wanted to see if they'd play something after. Oh, they've got Quench. Ew. I don't know if this means that they have a shock ability. I don't think they do, because I do remember seeing Bone Crusher Giant come through. So I think it was more just bait to see if I would take it. Arcane Signet. Okay. So now they've got 2 3-drops, so I can go Dispersal and they get to choose what they want. Let's make sure to use the colourless. Yeah, I'm going to bounce either Anax or Clothis there and make them discard it. I imagine they just go Anax to keep that in play, and that means that I get to swing in for 6, 8, 10, 12, and then I've got lethal next turn. Pretty good. Pretty good. Alright, well, that's going to do it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. It helps out the channel a great deal. It lets me know what kind of content you're interested in seeing. Other than that, though, I'm going to see y'all next time. Ta-ra!